Okay, for the Vigilante revolver, to make this gun last, what you want to do is make sure that when you're putting in the CO2, you don't put it in too tightly. And what I do is I put a little bit of oil on the end of a CO2. That's been common practice for most people. So that way that seal in there gets lubed up. And also some of the silicone oil can get inside there and lube things up also. But what you want to do is when you put in the CO2 and you start turning, what you want to do, the best way to do this, I don't recommend it, but some people don't mind it. What I usually do is I put this up to my ear really close and I keep turning it, and once you hear that hiss, okay, did you hear that? Once you hear that hiss, you want to go about half a turn. That's all you need. You don't want to keep cranking this. So it's vitally important that you listen for that hiss. That's the most important part. Once you hear the hiss, about a half a turn should be fine. And what that does is that saves your seal in here. So that way your seal doesn't go bad on you from over tightening the pistol. And then you put these on, these grips. Excuse me. And then you're ready to go. And the Crosman Vigilante is a 10-shot revolver, so what I recommend is if you're using this revolver for pre-training for a regular center fire revolver like a 38 Special, this 10-round clip here, what you could do is fire 5 shots and then fire another 5 to represent what a normal cylinder would be like on a 38 Special. And believe it or not, these Crosmans, for instance, this is called the Vigilante. The older Crosmans, called the Crosman 357 ones that had the same kind of clips as this does, they were used a lot by police cadets for pre-training. You know, for like let's say a teenager wanted to become a security guard or a police officer. Many years ago, what they would do is they would use Crosman CO2 pistols like this, revolvers, and they would get some training in. So a lot of people don't know that, but that's one of the reasons why the Crosman revolvers really kicked off, is because them cadets were always using them. And one of the things too is that the Crosman revolvers, you know, of course you got your adjustable rear sight, so it gave it some realism to the shooting experience. So, and obviously you don't have the recoil. But the most important shot anyway is the first shot. And when you're firing a 38 Special revolver, you don't get the recoil till after that very first shot. So these come in handy, although it's not perfect. They can kind of get you ready, you know, for revolver training. I recommend this revolver for people that might be a little spooked, you know, about shooting revolvers and firearms in general. So if you have a wife or something that, you know, you want to get her shooting, get her into one of these Crosman Vigilantes, and like I said, you can load the clip up to make it real. You got 10 shots, so only fire 5 shots at like 3 yards. Fire 5 shots, then fire 5 shots at 7, and then at 15 to give her some real practice. And then when she gets a real revolver that has a 5-shot cylinder, then she can know kind of like what it's like, because she's already fired the Crosman Vigilante. So she'll have an idea about the sights and stuff like that, and drawing and things like that. But also good for guys too. So there's a lot of guys that like revolvers. I like revolvers. I shot a lot of Smith & Wesson Model 10. That's you know, old school revolvers, some classics, and that's what I'm most familiar with as far as handguns, is the Smith & Wesson Model 10. It was a police issue revolver to begin with, and it probably was one of the most popular revolvers in the world at that time. So, but anyway, hope you enjoyed this video just on the introduction of this. I just wanted to show you how to load this, the CO2 part, and then obviously your pellets. You know, you can use Crosman pellets, but I recommend using air arms 7.33 grain round nose pellets. The reason why is because they're softer, they don't have antimony, and you can press them in here and they stay really well. Antimony is very hard, so what it does is it can make these cylinders loosen up on you over time. But you can also buy, extras of these, and I would if I were you. But I would stick to the softer lead ammo, the German type ammo. The American made has antimony, which is one of the reasons why the pellets are so hard. But I would use Air Arms 7.33 grain, or there's another brand called JSB 7.33 round nose pellets. Them are good too. They're about $10 for 500. I think the Air Arms ones I'm using now are about maybe $11 or $12 for 500. So it's up to you. You can get away with the JSB round nose pellets. The reason why I use round nose pellets is because of the forcing cone. Flat nose pellets are fine, but one of the things you have to realize is that no revolver is going to be perfect and function right all the time. But you have a forcing cone here, just like on a regular, centerfire revolver. You have a forcing cone, and what happens is sometimes the cylinder doesn't line up, so what they've done is they've flared the front part of the barrel here so that it can guide the pellet down the barrel. So what happens is the pellet kind of bumps itself around for the first half inch or so, and then it goes down the barrel. And this is a rifled barrel, by the way. So a round nose pellet gives it a better, gives it more stability, so it's not clipping the edge here so much, and it might even give you some better accuracy. So I recommend round nose because flat nose pellets, if you do have cylinder issues sometimes, the flat nose pellet could kind of catch right on here, and you don't want that. So I would just go with round nose pellets, the 7.33 grain like I told you. Make sure they're light pellets. So velocity isn't very high on this one, so you want to get the best out of it you can. So use them lighter lead pellets. So thank you very much for watching.